Welcome to Adala's Backyard Garden. This video is about bush beans and how easily you can grow it in your backyard. These bean varieties are basically short ones. They're just 1 feet tall, but they produce pretty well and you can grow them even in pots. The variety that we are growing here is the top crop variety and the provider bush beans. The first step is to prep our garden beds, and for that we use all-purpose fertilizer. We also use some bone meal or eggshell powder, some good quality compost. We prepped our garden bed somewhere in the beginning of February, and you can see that we have sprinkled the fertilizer and the eggshell powder, and now we're going to add the compost to it. I don't generally mix it in much, but if you have the patience, you can till your soil and mix in the compost. If you have your homemade compost, nothing like it. Here we do not have enough compost to put into all our beds, so I usually buy the compost. I started these beans somewhere around February 21st, and this is how we plant them. These beans are pretty tasty and they are stringless beans. What I love about these beans is that they are very compact to grow and you don't need much space, you don't need any trellis, and also they mature in 50 to 52 days. This is how the provider bush bean looks like. It is kind of brown in color. The other one is a little speckled. These beans have to be planted 1 to 1.5 inches in depth, and the distance between each bean plant, the packet says that you have to maintain a 4-inch distance, but I have maintained much more than that just to give it some room to grow. Now this is how the beds look after a month, and you can see that many of them have grown. Some of the spots are empty just because we had one little squirrel that loved our garden bed so much that it would come and look around for imaginary nuts. After that we installed Mr. Eagle, and then he's been away from our garden beds. He plays around in the front yard. This is how the garden beds look in about 2 months, and you can see that the flowers have started to come up, and so in a little while we'll start getting some beans. This is the adjoining raised bed where we started a few more bean plants to compensate for the ones that we lost. And in between these bean plants, we're also planting some green amaranth seeds. It should come up in a day or two. After about 70 days, this is how our plants look like, and they have started to produce pretty well. All of these plants are looking pretty healthy, and we are regularly harvesting the beans from them. Now this part of my garden does not receive full sun. It is a partly shaded region, but what I have noticed is that the beans are still doing pretty well. Also, these beans can tolerate a good amount of cold weather, and during the last month or so I noticed that even during cold weather I never covered any of these beans, and they did pretty good. These bean plants grow really well even in pots, and you can get a good harvest with just a few plants. I have about 8 to 10 plants in this raised bed, and the harvest is pretty decent. In the past, while growing beans, the one problem that I've faced is spider mite problem, and that can happen if you have continuous rain in your area, and also if your sprinklers are wetting the entire plant. And the only way to check that is by spraying an all natural neem oil spray continuously and keeping a check on the spider mite problem. This part of my garden has sprinklers and I cannot turn them off, so we'll have to wait and see how long these plants are able to produce and keep healthy. About every 3 to 4 weeks I'll be adding a liquid fertilizer uh, just to keep the plants from producing the blooms and the beans. For beginners, this is an excellent variety to grow, and you will not be disappointed with the yield you get. You can grow them in pots, you can grow them in your front yard, in your backyard, or in your patio. They are so pretty to look at and lush green that nobody will even know they are bean plants. So give them a try and see how you like it. Thank you for watching our videos. If you like these kind of videos, please like, share and subscribe to our videos.